What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com.
Here are my DFS picks for NFL Week 3 sleeper picks.
These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button
And hit that bell icon
so you don't miss our new videos.
In this video, I'm going to give you some of my top DFS sleeper picks,
Super low priced and low ownership players that could crush value this week and give your lineup an advantage over the field. These are risky plays, meant for large tournaments only. Don't go all in on any of these guys. They are high risk, high reward picks. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made.
Okay guys, NFL Week 3, let's take a look at the quarterback position. So my sleeper pick at the quarterback position is Marcus Mariota, Super Mario, from the Atlanta Falcons, playing the Seattle Seahawks, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They're middle-of-the-pack defending opposing quarterbacks. Marcus Mariota has averaged 18.6 fantasy points per game on the season, and the reason I like this pick is because he's averaging 9 rush attempts per game. So you're getting a quarterback and a running back in the same pick, gives him a lot of fantasy point upside, and he's only going to be about 3% owned, projected at 18.7 fantasy points here in week 3. And I also like this pick because he's only $5,500 DraftKings salary. He's $1,800 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 42 points scored in this game, with the Falcons trailing by 1. Marcus Mariota has scored 16 and 21 fantasy points in the last 2 games, and he got 6 and 12 rush attempts in those games. So I like Marcus Mariota here versus the Seattle Seahawks. Okay, let's take a look at the running back position. My sleeper pick at the running back position is James Robinson from the Jacksonville Jaguars, playing the LA Chargers, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They're middle-of-the-pack defending opposing running backs. James Robinson has averaged 17.9 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 17 rush attempts per game and 2 pass targets per game. He's only going to be about 4% owned, projected at 13.1 fantasy points here in week 3. He's $6,100 DraftKings salary, only $500 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 42.5 points scored in this game, with the Jaguars trailing by 3. So James Robinson has scored 16 and 20 fantasy points in the first 2 games of the season. He got 23 rush attempts last game, 11 the game before that, and he got 2 pass targets in each of those games. So he's averaging almost 20 touches a game, 19 touches a game through 2 weeks. So I think he's going to get plenty of volume in this one. I think he's going a little bit under-owned. The price is right, especially on FanDuel. So I like James Robinson here versus the LA Chargers.
Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching.
If you want to enter the drawing for $25 PayPal,
all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won.
And we'll send you $25 PayPal.
So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you.
Okay, let's take a look at the wide receiver position. So I got a couple of wide receiver sleeper picks for you here. I actually have 3 wide receiver sleeper picks. Let's start off with the first one that I like. I like DJ Chark from the Detroit Lions, playing the Minnesota Vikings, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They're middle-of-the-pack defending opposing wide receivers. DJ Chark has averaged 7.6 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 6 pass targets per game. He's been on the field for 74% of the snaps, only going to be about 2% owned, projected at 9.1 fantasy points here in week 3. He's 5,100 DraftKings salary, 400 more on FanDuel, so I like that price on both sites. Vegas thinks there's going to be 52.5 points scored in this game, with the Lions trailing by 6. So you got a high-scoring game and what could turn into a passing game script for the Detroit Lions. Now, the ownership is low on DJ Chark because he scored 0 fantasy points last week. He did get 4 pass targets. In week 1, he scored 15 fantasy points off of 8 pass targets. So the potential is there. This is an excellent wide receiver. I think it's an opportunity here to buy low at low ownership, coming off of that 0, coming off of that donut from last week. I don't think that's going to happen again. And the game script is fantastic here. Should be plenty of volume. So I like DJ Chark here versus the Minnesota Vikings. Another sleeper pick that I like at the wide receiver position is Greg Dortch from the Arizona Cardinals, playing the LA Rams, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They give up the second most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. Greg Dortch has averaged 14.4 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 6.5 pass targets per game. He's been on the field for 80% of the snaps. He's going to be about 5% owned, projected at 10.2 fantasy points here in week 3. And I like this pick because he's only 4,300 DraftKings salary, 800 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 48.5 points scored in this game, with the Cardinals trailing by 3.5. Greg Dortch has scored 16 and 13 fantasy points in the last 2 weeks off of 4 and 9 pass targets. He's got a great matchup here versus the Rams, so I like Greg Dortch here versus the LA Rams.
Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all the tools for NFL. NBA is right around the corner. This is a great time to get in and try everything for 1 month. The tools are all about saving research time. You can see the last 3 games, the fantasy points per game, the targets they got per game, so you can see how involved they are in the offense, the rushes they got per game. Seeing all this stuff on one screen helps you save time and make better picks. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups.
And another sleeper pick at the wide receiver position, I like Nelson Agholor from the New England Patriots, playing the Baltimore Ravens, who have the second worst defense overall, give up the absolute most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. Nelson Agholor has averaged 15.4 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 5.5 pass targets per game. He's going to be about 5% owned, projected at 8.5 fantasy points here in week 3. And I like this pick because he's only 4,100 DraftKings salary. He is 1,800 more on FanDuel, and Vegas thinks there's going to be 44 points scored in this game, with the Patriots trailing by 2.5. Now, Nelson Agholor scored 26 and 5 fantasy points in the last 2 games off of 6 and 5 pass targets. Fantastic matchup here, and I love his DK price, so I like Nelson Agholor here versus the Baltimore Ravens. Okay, moving on to the tight end position, my sleeper pick is Tyler Conklin from the New York Jets, playing the Cincinnati Bengals, who have a good defense overall. They're middle of the pack defending opposing tight ends. Tyler Conklin has averaged 10.8 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 8 pass targets per game. He's been on the field for 95% of the snaps, only going to be about 2% owned, projected at 8.7 fantasy points here in week 3, and he's only $3,800 DraftKings salary, $1,400 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 45 points scored in this game, with the Jets trailing by 6. So Tyler Conklin has scored 10 and 11 fantasy points in the last 2 weeks, off of 9 and 7 pass targets. So he's getting a ton of volume. He's always out there on the field. His salary is super low. Could be a passing game script here as the New York Jets play from behind. So I like Tyler Conklin here versus the Cincinnati Bengals.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smiggity smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NFL slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again and good luck.